The arena of beasts. The arena shook with the sound of roaring aliens. Thousands of them stood, their eyes glowing, claws raised, screaming for blood. The place was called the Arena of Beasts, and it was famous across the galaxy. Here, fighters battled until one of them could no longer move or breathe. In the center of the arena stood a giant warrior. His body was covered in thick red armor made from the bones of dead beasts. His name was Krasthur, the undefeated warlord of the Zarn Empire. He had crushed over 100 fighters. Some begged for mercy. None survived. The announcer's voice echoed across the sky. Now entering, the final challenger, a human named Jack. Silence fell. A human, the crowd laughed. Some spat. Others threw stones toward the gate. Then the metal door creaked open. Out walked a man, tall, calm, wearing only a simple black jacket and combat boots. No armor, no helmet, no weapons, just Jack. Krasthur squinted. "Is this a joke, Jack?" Said nothing. He walked slowly to the center of the arena. The sand crunched under his feet. His face showed no fear. Only focus. The announcer shouted, "Begin!" Krasthur charged like a beast. His war cry shook the walls. His axe raised, high, aiming for Jack's head, but Jack ducked. In one smooth move, he spun and kicked Krasthur in the back of the leg. The giant stumbled. The crowd gasped. Krasthur turned fast and swung again. Jack moved like water. He dodged every strike, left, right, backflip. He didn't even hit back. He only waited, watched, learned. 5 minutes passed. Krasthur was panting. Jack was calm. Then in a flash, Jack struck. One punch to the chest, one elbow to the jaw. One kick to the side. Krasthur dropped his weapon. He fell to his knees. Blood ran from his mouth. Jack stood in front of him, eyes cold but calm. The crowd went silent again. Krasthur looked up, his face covered in pain and shame. He had never lost, never begged. But now he did. "Please, human, show me mercy. I'll do anything." Jack stared at him. Everyone waited for the final blow. But Jack didn't move. He slowly turned and walked away. Gasps filled the arena. No one had ever spared Krasthur. Guards stepped forward, unsure of what to do. Was the fight over? Jack spoke, his voice clear. "I didn't come to kill. I came to prove what mercy looks like." And with that, he left the arena. Krasthur stayed on his knees, his head down, not just in pain, but in thought. The crowd didn't cheer. They didn't boo. They were confused. For the first time, a human had defeated the beast not just with strength, but with something far more dangerous: mercy. As Jack walked through the exit gate, the sky above thundered. Storm clouds rolled in. Something big was coming, but no one knew yet. Krasthur sat alone in the empty arena after the crowd left. Blood dried on his cracked armor. His claws trembled, not from pain, but from shame. He had begged, and worse, a human had spared him. He remembered Jack's eyes, calm, steady, without hate. It was not weakness. It was control. That night, under the twin moons of Zarnus, Krasthur stood outside the human's holding cell. 2 guards blocked his way. "I need to speak with the human," he growled. One laughed. "To kill him for mercy?" "No," Krasthur replied. "To serve him." The guards stared at each other, confused, then moved aside. Inside the cold cell, Jack was meditating. Legs crossed, eyes closed. He didn't open them when Krasthur entered. "I expected you," Jack said calmly. Krasthur knelt. His pride burned inside him, but something deeper had changed. "I owe you a life debt," he said. "I was raised to crush enemies, but you defeated me with mercy. I don't understand it, but I want to. Let me serve you." Jack opened his eyes. "Why?" "I want to become something more than a beast." Jack studied him in silence, then nodded. "Fine. Help me escape. And protect someone important to me." "Who?" "A child. trapped under the Emperor's throne. Next morning, before the sun rose, Krasthur and Jack walked through secret tunnels only high warriors knew. "My brother guards the inner chamber," Krasthur warned. "He won't let us pass without blood." "I'm not here for a war," Jack said. "Then you might die today." They reached a thick steel gate. Beyond it was a secret prison. Only the Emperor knew who was locked inside. Krasthur punched the access panel. It buzzed red. "Locked from the Emperor's DNA," he growled. Jack placed his hand on the panel. The screen flashed green. "Access granted." Krasthur stepped back. "What are you?" Jack didn't answer. Inside the prison chamber they saw her, a young alien girl floating in a glowing crystal cell. She looked no older than 10 with silver skin and soft blue light pulsing under it. "Her name is Aya," Jack said softly. "I rescued her once. They took her. They used her DNA for war tech." Krasthur looked at the girl's peaceful face. "She's beautiful." Suddenly, alarm sirens screamed. Someone had triggered the sensors. Krasthur spun. "My brother is here." From the tunnel entrance, a tall warrior entered. Sharp armor, green flame tattoos, red eyes burning with rage. "Traitor!" the brother roared. "You kneel to a human?" "I rise as something better," Krasthur answered. The two brothers clashed, metal on metal, roars and punches. The ear room shook. Jack focused on Aya. Her eyes opened weakly inside the crystal. "Jack," she whispered. "I'm here," he said. He placed a small device on the crystal cell. It hummed, then cracked open. He caught her as she fell. She was light, too light. Her body was weak. Krasthur cried out, stabbed through the shoulder. But with his last strength, he grabbed his brother and threw him into the electric core. Sparks flew. His brother fell unconscious. Krasthur dropped to one knee. "I kept my oath." Jack placed Aya on his back. "We're not done yet," Jack said. "Now we run." As they escaped through the fire-lit tunnels, one thing became clear. This was no longer about mercy. It was about redemption. The tunnels shook as distant explosions rumbled behind them. The Emperor's guards had discovered the broken gate. The clock had started. Jack ran ahead, Aya resting weakly in his arms. Her silvery skin was dim, her breathing shallow. She was alive, but barely. Behind them, Krasthur limped, wounded but determined. His blood dripped across the stone floor, yet he pushed forward with silent rage. He had betrayed everything he once served for a human and a child he barely knew. They reached a hidden steel door deep under the palace, a door made of blackstone, smooth and cold, guarded by two motionless sentry machines. Jack turned to Krasthur. "This is it. Behind this wall is the Emperor's biovault." "What's in there?" Krasthur asked. "Everything he stole from her." Jack walked forward, raising his hand. The sentry machines scanned him, then powered down. The vault opened. Inside was no treasure, no gold, no weapons, just pain. Glass tanks lined the walls, each filled with floating clones, all in Aya's image. Some were older, some twisted, some crying out in silence. Krasthur stepped back. "By the stars." "She's not a child to them," Jack said. "She's a tool. They copied her gifts, made soldiers. But none were perfect." Suddenly Aya's voice whispered, "I can feel them. They're still alive." Jack looked down. Her skin was glowing brighter now. "She's linked to all of them," Jack said. "We have to save the original. If she dies, all her clones will die too." Krasthur stepped forward. "Then we take them all." "No," Jack said firmly. "We take only the real Aya. The others can't survive outside the tanks." "But they're alive," Krasthur shouted. "And that's what makes it hurt." They had no time for a fight. Footsteps echoed down the tunnel. "They're coming," Jack said. Suddenly, a blast shook the hallway. The back wall of the vault exploded. Out stepped the Emperor's shadow guard. Black armor, red lights, no faces. Only death. Jack handed Aya to Krazathur. Run! What about you? Krazathur asked. Jack pulled out something hidden inside. His jacket. A weapon shaped like a cube. Alien tech mixed with human steel. It hummed with blue light. I'll hold them. The shadow guards attacked. Jack moved like lightning, firing the cube in all directions. Energy walls burst into the hallway. Time slowed. He fought with skill no human should have. As Krazathur carried Aya through the tunnels, he heard the sounds behind him. Crashes, screams, then silence. At the next turn, a blast door opened. Jack emerged, his jacket torn, one eye glowing, faintly blue. Still breathing, he said with a smirk. Aya looked up from Krazathur's arms. You came back. I always will, Jack said. They exited the palace tunnels into the night. Fire and chaos filled the skies. The Emperor had declared a lockdown. Soldiers marched across cities. Ships hovered above rooftops. We'll never make it to the outer walls, Krazathur warned. We won't, Jack said. But she will. Jack opened a small case from his belt. Inside was a single-use stardust capsule, designed for deep space escape. It'll only take one, he said, and it's linked to Earth space. He handed it to Aya. She looked at him with wide, glowing eyes. I don't want to leave you. Jack smiled softly. You'll survive. That's what matters. Suddenly, Aya screamed. Her body glowed too bright to see. Then from her skin, light spread like a wave. Every clone back in the vault died instantly. Only Aya survived. She looked at Jack with tears. They were part of me. Now they're gone. Jack knelt beside her. Then carry them in your heart, not in chains. Krazathur looked at the sky. The Emperor's ship. It's moving this way. Jack stood up. Then let's give him a welcome. From deep inside the broken palace, the war was no longer about blood. It was about who still had a soul. The skies over the capital turned red. Warships circled above like vultures. Streets burned. Sirens screamed. The entire city was locked down under the Emperor's command. All exits were sealed. But deep inside the Forbidden Zone, 3 shadows moved fast. A wounded alien warlord, a glowing hybrid child, and a human whose secrets ran deeper than blood. Jack led them toward a massive structure in the distance. The Burning Gate. It wasn't just an escape tunnel. It was the last portal ever built by ancient engineers, able to fold space and launch anything outside the planet's gravity. Only problem? It was inside a kill zone, surrounded by heat cannons and laser fields. Anyone who ran through it without clearance would be burned alive. Krazathur looked at Jack, still holding Aya close. That place hasn't been used in 100 years. We'll die trying. Jack shook his head. No. You'll get her through. I'll draw the fire. Aya clung to Jack's hand. You'll die. Jack smiled softly. Not today. They reached the outer wall of the launch ring. Machines moved above like spider sentinels scanning for targets. Any wrong step, and they'd fry in seconds. Jack reached into his pocket. He pulled out a black crystal chip, one of the last artifacts of Earth's secret tech war with the Zarn Empire. He pressed it into the wall. A timer blinked. 60 seconds to overload. Once the gate charges, Jack warned, you'll have less than 1 minute to cross. The system will think it's under attack and open a clean shot. And what about you? Krazathur asked. I'll stay behind and shut it from the inside, Jack said. The gate began to glow. The ground trembled. Energy beams lit the walls. The Emperor's drone fleet spotted them. A voice roared through speakers. Surrender the hybrid, or be erased. Krazathur's grip tightened around Aya. Never. Then, Jack ran, straight into the open. The drones locked onto him. Thousands of red dots followed his every move, but Jack moved too fast. His body flickered as if shifting between real and not real. Bullets and plasma missed him by inches. He reached the core console and slammed his hand on the override. Now, he shouted. Krasthur didn't wait. He held Aya tight, screamed a warrior's cry, and ran full speed through the swirling golden ring of the burning gate. The moment they passed through, the light exploded. The gate melted. The walls cracked. The entire structure began to collapse. Inside, Jack smiled. They made it. Then the console behind him sparked, and he vanished in a flash of white light. Somewhere, in the dark void between stars, Krasthur landed hard, on rocky ground. He opened his eyes and saw Aya beside him. Alive, the stardust portal had worked. But Jack, he was gone. Aya crawled to the edge of the cliff where they had landed. It overlooked a strange alien sky. She whispered. He said, "He'd always come back." Krasthur stayed silent, his warrior heart heavy. Then from the distance, a strange blue light blinked once. Then again, a signal. Aya smiled. He's not dead. Krasthur looked toward the stars. He's out there. The burning gate was destroyed, but something new had opened. Not a path for escape, but for hope. For 3 days, Krasthur and Aya wandered through the alien wasteland of the planet Virex, where the stardust portal had dropped them. The sky was purple, the ground cracked with heat. Nothing grew here, except silence. Krasthur's wounds had reopened. Aya was exhausted, her glow fading, but she didn't cry, because she believed something stronger than pain. Jack was still alive. On the 4th day, a ship appeared in the sky. Rusty, half-broken, but flying, it landed with a hiss. The doors opened, and there he stood, Jack, alive, but changed. His skin shimmered slightly. His left eye glowed pale blue. A long scar ran down his neck, pulsing like a soft electric wave. Aya ran to him, tears in her eyes. "You said you'd..." "Come back." Jack hugged her gently. "I always will." Krasthur walked over, confused. "You were inside the gate when it exploded. No one should survive that." Jack nodded slowly. "I didn't. That night, around a fire made from alien crystal wood, Jack told them everything. I was caught inside the gate's core," he began. "Time slowed. Everything burned. But the cube I used, it had more than Earth tech inside it." Krasthur stared. "What do you mean?" Jack lifted his sleeve. Underneath, thin alien veins pulsed, blue and gold, wrapped around his bones like living circuits. "When I saved Aya years ago," Jack said, "they experimented on both of us. I didn't know what they did to me. I thought I was normal." Aya whispered, "You're not fully human." Jack nodded. "No, I'm part of her kind now. That's why I could open the prison. That's why the sentry bots didn't stop me. That's why the fire didn't kill me." Krasthur's jaw clenched. "So you're one of them?" "No," Jack said firmly. "I'm one of both. Human, heart, alien blood, and that's why the Emperor fears me." He stood up and looked at the stars. "Because I don't belong to any empire. I belong to what comes next." Suddenly, Aya gasped. Her body glowed again, stronger this time. "I can hear them again," she said. "The clones, some of them, survived." Jack turned to her. "Where?" Aya pointed upward. "In orbit. On a secret lab ship. He took the rest there." Jack's face darkened. "The Emperor isn't done." Krasthur stood. "Then neither are we." The next day, Jack powered up the old ship. It wasn't much, but it would fly. As they rose into space, Jack stared into the black sky. "Do you see now?" he said. Krasthur looked at him. "See what?" "The truth of a human," Jack replied. "We're not the strongest, not the smartest, but we fight. Even when broken, we protect, even when alone. And we come back, even when dead." Krasthur nodded slowly. "Then let me fight beside you, human. Until the last breath." Jack smiled. "Then let's go get our family back." Above them in the dark void, the Emperor was waiting, and this time, He knew fear. Above the planet Virex, hidden behind cloaking fields, floated the Emperor's secret biolab ship, a monstrous station shaped like a giant claw, gripping hundreds of glass tanks inside its dark, glowing core. Inside those tanks were the remaining clones of Aya, half alive, silent, still suffering, and at the center, on a throne of cold iron, sat the Emperor, old, armored, and cruel. His eyes were mechanical now, long replaced by scanners. He watched the stars like a hunter watches prey. "They will come," he whispered. "Let them." Back aboard their stolen ship, Jack checked the weapons. There weren't many, just old cannons and a shield system held together by wires and luck. Krasthur stepped beside him, gripping an axe too large for the human ship. "You sure you want to do this?" Jack looked out the window. "We don't want to fight. Then why are we armed?" To remind them what mercy costs, they dropped Cloak near the biolab. Alarms rang instantly. Dozens of war drones flew toward them. "Hold tight," Jack shouted. Krasthur manned the guns. His wounded arm shook but didn't stop. "Let's teach them pain." Laser blasts tore through space. The ship shook. Sparks flew from the control panel. Aya cried out as the wall beside her cracked, but they broke through. The ship crashed into the docking bay, flames behind it. Jack kicked the door open, smoke pouring around him. His body glowed faintly blue now, not from tech but from transformation. They ran inside. The Emperor waited. He stood as Jack entered the throne hall, Aya behind him, Krasthur limping at his side. "You," the Emperor hissed. "The broken beast and the half-breed traitor." His voice echoed through the chamber. Jack stepped forward. "Let the clones go." The Emperor raised a small controller. "One press, and they all die." Jack didn't flinch. "Then press it." Everyone froze. The Emperor blinked. "What?" "You want power," Jack said, stepping closer. "You want to win, but you're afraid because you know what I am now," the Emperor growled. "You're nothing but a lab mistake." Jack smiled. "No, I'm what happens when mercy grows, stronger than fear." The Emperor pressed the button. Nothing happened. Aya stepped forward, eyes glowing bright. "You used my DNA to control them, but now they answer to me." The tanks lit up behind her. Every clone opened her eyes. The Emperor stepped back, finally unsure. Jack reached out his hand. "This is your last chance. End it now. Surrender. Show the mercy you never gave." The Emperor screamed. He pulled a blade from his throne and charged. Jack didn't move. The blade struck but stopped just inches from Jack's chest. Krasthur's axe blocked it. He growled, "No one touches my commander." Then, with one swing, he smashed the Emperor's blade. The Emperor fell to his knees, defeated. Jack stood over him. "I should end you." The Emperor laughed weakly. "Then do it." But Jack shook his head. "I already won." He turned and walked away. Behind him, the clones broke, free from their tanks. Aya called to them softly. They surrounded her, not like soldiers, but like sisters finally waking up. Krasthur looked at the broken Emperor. "Now you learn what true defeat feels like, being spared by those you hurt." Back on their ship, as they flew away from the burning station, Jack sat quietly. Aya leaned against him. "You could have killed him." "I know. Why didn't you?" Jack stared out at the stars. "Because someday, someone stronger will stand over me, and I pray they choose mercy." 2. The galaxy had seen war. Now it had seen something more dangerous. Forgiveness. Weeks passed. The Emperor's defeat spread across the stars like wildfire. Planet after planet rose in protest. Soldiers who once feared their leaders now whispered the name of a human who fought with both strength and something rarer, mercy. They didn't call him Jack. They called him the man who chose to spare. On a peaceful moon far from the Empire's heart, Jack walked through a garden that never used to exist. Children, both alien and human, ran between trees with glowing fruit. Aya played beside them, no longer glowing with fear but with peace. The clones had been given new names, new homes, and new chances to live, not as weapons, but as people. Krasthur stood at the edge of the garden watching. His scars were healing. His heart, though, still carried the weight of his past. Jack walked up beside him. "Thought you'd return to the battlefield," Jack said with a smirk. Krasthur grunted. "I did." He pointed at the children. "This is it." Jack nodded. "Strange, isn't it? How the strongest warrior I ever met now guards a garden." Krasthur smirked. "Don't tempt me, I still carry my axe." They both laughed. Quiet, real. One night, around a fire under the stars, the clones gathered. Aya stood before them. She looked older now, stronger. She raised her voice, clear and brave. "We were born as tools, but someone gave us freedom. Not by killing, but by choosing to show mercy." She looked at Jack. "And now we choose something new, not the way of the sword, not the rule of power, but a new code, the code of mercy." The clones raised their hands in agreement, and from that fire something began. In the following years, stories spread far across space, not of empires, not of warlords, but of strange new outposts where mercy ruled instead of force, where old enemies broke bread, where broken machines were fixed, not scrapped, where humans and aliens worked together, not for survival but for something greater. Some laughed at the idea, but many followed it. One by one, new voices joined, not because Jack demanded it, but because they saw what mercy had built. Years later, a child stood in an arena, rebuilt, now used for training and sport, not death. She was half alien, half human. Her arms shook as she faced her towering opponent. He stepped forward, snarling, "You're too weak to stand here." She fell to one knee, breathing hard. She raised her hand, not in surrender, but in respect. "Please," she said calmly. "Show me mercy. I'll do anything to prove I deserve this place." The crowd waited. The warrior stared at her. And then he lowered his weapon. He reached out a hand and lifted her up. From the stands, Jack watched silently, older now, gray, in his hair, but fire in his eyes. Krasthur sat beside him, now a full council member of the Peaceborn Alliance. Aya stood behind them, dressed in flowing white and blue robes, her title known across galaxies, the first Mercyborn. And somewhere, on a planet long forgotten, the broken throne of the Emperor still sat in ruins, but etched on its cracked wall was a message left by Jack before he walked away. Real strength is not how many you kill, but how many you choose to spare. The galaxy had changed, not because one human fought, but because he chose not to.